club soda mixed with tonic water because I am a loked out gangster set tripping banger and my homies is down, so don't arouse my anger. Hello dudes, dudettes, duders, and everyone in between, and welcome to How to Do Everything So You Don't Have to, a series where we teach you how to think like a producer. Today's broadcast is coming from sunny Riverside, California. Why? Because sunny Los Angeles, California is burning. The fires really came into their own Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, so my wife and children woke up to the news that there were concerns worth taking seriously. Within an hour of seeing the plumes, we were getting text messages from the city that our area was being evacuated and we should leave, immediately, which was actually just fine because we had already made the decision to leave long before the official notice. My wife spent that time rounding up the family concerns, and I packed up the business. There's a lot we did right as a business in the lead up to the evacuation, and a lot I'd do better if given another go. The good news is that, at least according to every scientist worth their sodium chloride, as climate change continues to ramp up, we'll have plenty of opportunities to iterate on our preparedness plan and really pin down all the essential components. In this video, though, we're going to go over our successes and failures when it came to evacuating the business in 1 hour, and we'll be giving ourselves a grade in each of the 5 pillars of our business regarding how well we were able to extract them and keep them running smoothly. These 5 pillars are client relations, pre-production, filming, post-production, and archiving. If you yourself run a media consulting business, there's a lot in this video that will help you prepare for an evacuation and to execute once it happens. So let's get right into it so that I can get back to watching Lord of the Rings with my 4-year-old. It's got horses and fireworks, so I think we found a winner. First up, client relations. Client relations includes all inbound and outbound communications with our clients, as well as our ability to access and deliver their files if they need them. If we can't get emails in, we aren't getting new jobs. If we can't get projects out, we aren't getting paid for the jobs that we've completed. So it would reflect very poorly on me as a producer if we didn't crush it in this department. Let's see that score. This is doubtless where we fared the worst, but there's a good reason. Natural disasters don't schedule themselves around when it's convenient for us, but an early January hit is particularly brutal for client relations in our business. Because January tends to be our slowest month, we do our clean OS installs on our work computers and reset all passwords across all of our work accounts. We were about a third of the way through this project when we left, which meant that we were seriously kneecapped, with our travel computers lacking core software and many of our devices not logged into essential accounts. Because of this, our ability to maintain client relations was way more compromised this week than if it had happened 2 weeks earlier or 2 weeks later. None of that really matters, though, if we can't sign the new contracts because we can't log into our email, because our password is randomly generated nonsense that we can't access because we didn't update the laptop OS and refresh the keychain connections. That's our problem, not the clients. Now, this is not the mighty death pop. We'll get those contracts signed and returned. But we prefer friction like this either not exist or be completely invisible to the client. We met neither of those goals this time around. It's not a total wash, though. We were able to reset our passwords and log into the essential pieces of software, but it was an uphill battle and a bit of a time vampire. And when you're a family of 4 living out of a suitcase, time sucks and distractions are all the more deeply felt. While client relations are compromised, it wasn't a total loss. Our eldest son is coming to understand the origin of the Nazgul and the dangers of speaking the black tongue, so it really does balance out. A 2 out of 10 is in no way acceptable, though, if we plan to run the business for more than a week, and here's what we would do to bring that number up past 5. Batching password changes by account and not by computer would be the biggest change we'll be making to the workflow. So as soon as we generate a new password, we would populate all computers that need it as soon as it's changed. Until now, we would do these updates starting with the main computers and then populating the less used machines. But that only works if you get through the entire process before less used machines become essential. The cost here is that production will have to stop for the day or two as we line up all the computers and make sure that they're all synced. Well-timed and executed, this might affect the clients a bit, but certainly not at the level that they're being affected right now. Communications have been touch and go because we weren't properly logged in, and that's simply not a mistake worth making twice. And lucky you, if you're watching this video, you don't even have to make it once. let's get into pre-production. Pre-production is all about staff relations for us. This is the stage in which we communicate with the talent that will execute the productions that come in from the clients. Job postings, bookings, call sheets, schedules, and deal memos are all handled at this stage. And our score is... Pre-production fared a bit better than client relations, but we still took a hit. We have our pre-production concerns split across several cloud services to reduce the risk of losing everything if there's ever a problem with one of the servers. Everything that was on our iCloud, that is budgeting and talent availability, is ready and waiting for us on all devices because iCloud logs in when you set up the device. Having all of our budgeting on iCloud was convenient because the unexpected trip added considerable expenses, both business and personal. So knowing how it affects our finances in real time helps take the edge off. Unfortunately, we keep call sheets and deal memos on a separate cloud service, which isn't quite so easy to access. Not impossible, mind you, but it was enough friction that we'll be moving all call sheets and deal memos to our iCloud account as soon as we get back to the office. Employee comms were also unaffected. We use Discord as the primary platform for all freelancer conversations, and that was the one account other than the iCloud that was already updated across all devices. A 5 out of 10 is fair, if a bit harsh, but the reason we didn't score higher was because the solution to this problem was silly stupid and only would have taken half an hour to implement. All of these documents, accounting spreadsheets, talent availability spreadsheets, deal memos, and call sheets should be stored redundantly on multiple cloud services. I mean, it's not like these files are heavy. All told, we're talking about 5s, maybe even 10s of megabytes. Because of poor organization, though, call sheet and deal memo generation will end up taking longer than if we had prepared better. And that's time that could be spent explaining the differences between Sting, Glamdring, and Orcrist and why they might go dark in Moria. Let's talk about physical production. Physical production is when the main filming actually happens. If you have a camera and a microphone, you can do physical production. If you don't, you can't. I'm happy to say that we did okay on this one. 8 out of 10. I mean, you're seeing me talking, right? This means that we've got picture and audio, and that's all you really need to shoot a film. Because 90% of our client work is done at their facilities, our kit is designed to travel efficiently, which made evacuation really easy. The primary concern was how much space we had left in the car after family concerns were addressed. There was enough room for a pocket 6K, a 24-105 lens, a 50mm lens, a tripod, some computer screens, a teleprompter, microphone, and the hard drives. But we'll talk about those in a bit, as that's a post-production and archival concern, not physical production. The camera kit was designed to be enough in the event that we got called out for a job, knowing that we could execute 90% of our corporate work with the core kit, and if there were needs beyond what we brought, we could fill them out with rentals. Of course, there are minor tweaks we'd make here and there. I think it would be good to have a shotgun mic in the 6K G2 kit, and our CF Express cards are a bit low capacity. It would probably be smart to have a terabyte in each camera by default in the event that it's the only media we have with us, but come on, physical production gets a solid 8 out of 10, and we earned it. Just like my son earned the right to know whether or not the leaves of Lothlorien fall idly. Let's get into post-production. Post-production involves all editing, graphics, and rendering concerns. We did not do so hot in this department. That score's a little deceptive because we didn't do terribly, we just made one big dumb mistake that rendered everything else we did correctly useless. We keep multiple copies of all live projects, and it was really easy to grab all the current SSDs and chuck them in our laptop case. You know what we didn't chuck in that laptop case? The project files. In 2023, we kept all project files on the drive that contained the footage. If you had the footage, you had the project files. This worked fine when working on one computer, but reconnecting projects and footage when changing computers wasn't always a home run. In 2024, we kept all projects on the Blackmagic cloud, which worked fine, but logging in and logging out was enough of a hassle that we considered tethering projects to specific computers in 2025. Also, we had 1 or 2 scares in 24 where Blackmagic Cloud logged us out or glitched in a way that made us worry that we'd lost all of our projects. So, like a genius, we kicked off this year by building all of our project files on the internal drive of our main editing machine.
Big mistake.
While we're out here in Riverside with all of the footage, we don't have any of the project files with us. We didn't make it 2 weeks on our new system before it kicked us square in the mean bean machine. This is a pretty colossal whiff, so it's hard for me to complain about a 2 out of 10 on our post-production preparedness. It really sucks because if we'd had the project files better organized, it would have been an 8 or a 9 out of 10. We do have one project that needs revision, so that means I have to hatchet up the export we have with us, build the project from scratch, or drive to Glendale and get the project files. That's time that would be much better spent explaining to my son how even a warrior as brave and strong as Isildur could fall victim to the allure of the One Ring. Let's talk about Archival. Archival is the final step of any project after delivery. We did pretty well here, and anything that could be called a failure was due to limited car space, not failure to plan or act on my part. A huge point of pride for us is that we archive everything we've ever done redundantly. This has grown into petabytes of data that are all meticulously cataloged and maintained. If a client were to call us about a project that was delivered and retired 15 years ago, we'd be able to revive the project and make those edits within 24 hours of getting the email. It's one of the most incredible aspects of how we built this business, and also one of the aspects that the clients are least aware of. We are a family of 4 in a 2014 Volkswagen Jetta, so space is limited. We were not able to take all 20 years of data that we've been accumulating. We have drive cases, so we loaded them up with as many drives as we could, spanning as much time as we could. This ended up being 20 drives, which takes us back to the beginning of 2023, as well as a 5 terabyte drive that contains all of the outputs since the beginning of our career, though it should be noted that those are compressed outputs, not ProRes. If the studio were to burn down, we'd be able to access any project fully from the last 2.5 years and any final export from the last 20. That's not bad, but it could be better. Here are the improvements we'd need to implement to bump that up to an 8 or 9. We definitely need more hard drive cases and to have them labeled by year and split by redundancy. Right now, we've got A drives and B drives sitting next to each other on the shelf. So we need to split the archives and keep one copy on site and another off site. Also, our cloud presence is woefully underconsidered. While we have hard drives with all of our final exports, we do not have those 5 terabytes redundant on the cloud. Curing that is going to be a first quarter project at Thayu, and we'll keep you posted as we push through the challenges associated with sorting, tagging, and uploading 2 decades worth of work spread across 5 terabytes. And while all of that footage is uploading, maybe I can tell my son a fun little bit of trivia about what happened when Viggo Mortensen kicked that orc helmet. And I get to tell him, not you, me. The only reason I had kids was so that I could experience the unfiltered joy that one gets telling someone about the helmet kick in Two Towers and the origins of Super Mario Bros. 2 on the NES. Now, I gotta boogie. It sounds like Boromir is getting some pretty kooky ideas about what he could be doing with Frodo's jewelry. Look, if you enjoyed this video, I'd invite you to subscribe. If you feel like I missed the mark on preparedness planning, leave a comment below. Or you could turn off YouTube and prepare your go bag, just in case. And don't forget to pack extra lambus bread.